Hello and welcome to the Rohit Programming Zone. In this section we will see how we can deal with the numbers and character in C# programming. To do so we have data type and variable in C#. Data type are used everywhere in the C# programming. To perform any specific task, first we are required to inform the compiler about the data type for processing. So to implement data types in C# programming, first we are required to define the data type with the variable name. So here question comes, what is variable? Variable is used to hold the value of given data type which can be accessed in the program. To define variable, simply declare the data type with the variable name and assign the value followed by equal sign, and also note that value end with semicolon sign at the time of declaration. So let's look at some most common used data type in C# programming. First common used data type is integer, which is known as int. Int can be negative, positive, or 0. It is used to store numbers without decimals like a whole number. Integer has several types, depends on the size and numbers they are supposed to store. For now we will focus on int data type, which is the most common used type in C#. It takes 4 bytes in memory and store maximum 10-digit numbers. So let's understand how we can declare integer values. As you can see on the diagram, there is a data type variable and value. So here data type is int. X is variable name and 40 is the value which I have assigned. So here X contain the value of int data type which can be accessed in the program. So to initialize the value, simply put the variable name inside the console.writeLine method to display on the console screen. So let's move to the Visual Studio coding part and see the complete program result. As we can see, the result is 40. So in this way we can implement in our program. Now we will see how we can calculate two integer values. As you can see here, I have defined two integers values. Int x equals 10. And int y equals 5. So here x and y are variable which contain two different values, as x equals 10 and y equals 5 for int data type. So to add the value of x and y, I have declared int result equals x plus y. So here I have declared a new integer name called result, and then I have assigned the x and y variable within the plus operator sign. Then finally I have initialized the result value with the statement to display on the console screen. Similarly, you can subtract, multiply, divide the whole numbers. All you need to do is simply change the operator sign instead. So let's move to the coding part and see the result. As we can see, the sum of x and y is 15. So in this way you can calculate two integer values. Next is double data type. This data type is used to deal with the decimals numbers. Double is an 8 bytes numbers which represents 64-bit floating point numbers which are present in the miscorelib.dll library. And it is used to store large and small values. Apart from this, it can store fraction value as well. And also remember, double type required more memory than integers type. Precision range for the double type is plus or minus 5.0 times 10^324 to plus or minus 1.7 times 1030. And for decimals, 15 to 17 significant digits. To declare double data type, first define the type with the variable name and then assign the value in it. For example, as you can see here at the declaration, first I have defined the type as double, and then I have named the type with the variable name which is x, and then I have assigned the decimal value followed by equal sign, and also note that value should end with semicolon. And to initialize, I have simply called the variable name inside the console.writeLine method to display on the console screen. So let's move to the coding part and see the complete program result. As we can see, the result is displayed. So in this way you can declare and initialize double values. Next we have float data type. This data type is used to store single precision floating number, which can stores 32-bit floating point values. Range is plus or minus 1.5 times 1045 to plus or minus 3.4 times 1038. And the decimal precision is 6 to 9 significant digit. To declare float value, simply define the float type with the variable name and assign the float value with the suffix f at the end of the decimal value and semicolon. Let's take an example to understand float data type. So first assume that you have to create a program which can calculate whole number and decimal numbers. Then how will you do this? So let's see an example to calculate two different values. So here at the declaration I have defined two data types. First is integer type with the variable name called x, and then I have assigned the value which is 25. And in the next line I have defined float type with the variable name, and then I have assigned the float value 5.2 with the suffix f. Next I have declared new float type variable name called result and assigned the x and y value within the plus operator sign to calculate. And to initialize, I have simply called the variable name called result inside the console.writeLine method with the statement to display on the console screen. So let's jump into coding part and see the complete program result. So here sum of x plus y equals 27.5 is displayed. So in this way you can implement in your program. Now we will see how we can deal with the characters in C#. To do so we have char data type in C#. Char type is used to hold single character like digit, letter, symbol, and so on. It take 2 bytes in memory for single character and utilizes 16-bit Unicode to represent. So let's see how we can assign char value and type in C# programming. Here at the declaration first I have defined char type with the variable name as character, and then I have assigned the value which is in capital A, followed by equal sign within the single quote and semicolon. And then I have simply called the variable name with the following methods. In the first method I have called the variable name to display on the console screen. And in the next method to display character Unicode value. And finally in the last method to display character type on the console screen. So let's move to the coding part and see the complete program result. As we can see the result, char value A is displayed, and then the Unicode value 65, and finally the character type which is system.char. So in this way you can declare and initialize the character values and type in C#. Next common used data type is string. String is one of the most significant data type in C# programming. String is used to store text values, that is a number of characters. To declare string values, first define the string type with the variable name, and then assign the text value followed by equal sign within double quote. And also note that it should be ends with the semicolon at the time of declaration. So let's look at some of the common used methods for string data type. To lower. This method is used to convert the text into lowercase. To upper. This method is used to convert the text into uppercase. Substring. This method is used to target the character position. Length. This method is used to get the number of character in the current string. Get type. This method is used to get the type of the current instance. So let's see how we can use these methods in our program. Here in the declaration first I have defined the string type with the variable name called x, and then I have assigned the value followed by equal sign as Rohit within double quotes ends with semicolon. So in this way you can declare string values. And to initialize the value you can simply call the variable name with the methods. So here I have some examples to manipulate string values. Number 1 console.writeLine x. So here console.writeLine is a method of system namespace which is generally used in a program to display values on the console screen. So here, inside this method I have put the x variable name to display the value. So it will display Rohit on the console screen. In the next line of methods I have put the x dot to lower, to convert the x value into lowercase. Similarly x dot to upper, to convert x value into uppercase. And in the fourth method x dot length, it will get the number of characters which are present in the x value. Next method is x dot get type. Here it will display the instance of the x, which is in string. And finally we have the last method with x substring of 2. So to understand substring, first look at this diagram how x values are stored in a memory. As you can see there is a value and index which demonstrates how string value are stored in a memory location. So here x value is Rohit which has 5 characters, and in the substring method I have target the x position as substring of 2. So here 2 is an index number which is used in a substring method to target the character location to display characters to the end of the string x value. So whenever you use this method to target any character location, remember that index always start from 0 number. So let's jump into coding section and see the result. As we can see here, the first result of x value is Rohit. Then the x value is converted into lowercase and then in the uppercase. Next we have initialized the number of characters stored in x value which is 5. And then we have initialized the type which is system.string, and finally it prints the target character position to the end of x value which is hit. So in this way you can implement in your program. Next common used data type is bool. Bool type is known as simplest data type in C#. It's contain only 2 values, true or false. Bool type is important to understand when using logical operators with the if statements. So here questions comes in our mind. What is an logical operator and if statement? So here logical operator is used to specify how multiple search terms are combined in a search query. However, if statements consist of Boolean expressions followed by one or more statements. So let's see how we can declare and initialize bool type with the if statements. So here you can see I have defined 2 integer values as int x equals 10 and int y equals 5. Then I have declared bool type name called result as true. And in the if statement I have initialized the bool type value as result equals x is greater than y. And then finally I have put the execution code inside the if statement to check whether bool type is true or not. So here the important part is declaration. If you are assigning the bool type value as true, then the if statement expressions should also assigned as true to execute the code inside the if statement. So let's move to the coding part and see the complete program result. As we can see, Boolean statement is true. So in this way you can implement in your program. In the next part we will learn statements. So guys, do subscribe my channel for future updates. Thanks for watching Rohit Programming Zone.